everybody? You know what it is, JR Play, and I have my guest here with me today, and we're talking about mental illnesses. To be more specific, bipolar disorder. Introduce yourself for America, sir.
I'm Tommy.
This is Tommy. Okay, Tommy has struggled with bipolar disorder for quite some time. He's going to give us an insight on what it's like, and at the end of the show, he's going to share with us a poem that he's wrote himself. It's very good. I've heard it already, so stay tuned. About this, starting out with, how old were you when you were first diagnosed?
I was 11 when I was first diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what type of medication did they put you on early on?
I don't remember all of them, but I remember I was on the Elavil for a long time.
Okay.
They started me out on a lower dose and then started raising it. I started acting out even more.
Mm-hmm.
Had issues at school, got into fights, was sent to alternative school, and got picked on a lot too because of it, because I couldn't control myself.
Yeah.
Or my own impulses. And so, as time went on, I pretty much started refusing to take it. It was kind of a form of rebellion against, I guess, maybe the medication, maybe my parents also.
Okay.
And so, a little time went on, and there was actually a big change in my life. We moved. My mom left the man that was causing most of the problems, and got put on a natural supplement that actually my mom found called Attitude Adjustment.
Okay.
Now, I took that for a little while, but after a while, I stopped taking medication altogether.
Okay. So you say you stopped taking medication. So now that you don't take medication, what in particular triggers a bipolar episode for you? What triggers that?
I suppose at first, after stopping from taking the medication, I guess there were triggers that, anyone that would attack my testosterone, they would attack me as a man, or, verbally or whatever. And there were times where I would, I as a matter of fact, I joined the military because of it, and couldn't handle that. That was a high swing up, triggered a high swing up into manic. And as I was in basic training and going through the motions of basic training, and I just really couldn't handle it, and I told my drill sergeant, and I told him that I had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I was having moments in time where they would have us mowing the lawn around the barracks, and I just wanted to kick the lawnmower blade, so that they would just send me home. These are violent thoughts that you have, and they're not good. And these are the kind of thoughts you have on a major swing down from a high.
Okay.
And so once you reach the peak of the bottom, I guess that's not really called the peak, but the opposite of peak.
The descent, so to say.
Well, once you hit that rock bottom, that's when, if you can recognize it, which a lot of people, very unfortunate people, cannot recognize that they have hit rock bottom. Because when you recognize you have hit rock bottom, hope sparks back up, because you know that you can stop, assess, and climb. Now, people that have bipolar disorder and they're on bad diets and the wrong medication and stuff like that, they don't recognize this. They don't see this when this happens.
Okay.
And then very often it leads to suicide. In the midst of depression. So, I consider myself very fortunate, that found a regimen that helped me, and along with meditation and prayer and all that different type of stuff. You have to dedicate yourself to it the same way you would dedicate yourself to whatever you were going to decide to do when you're manic.
Whether it's drugs, alcohol, or bad behavior, whatever the case may be. Okay, so what are your coping methods? Because you say you don't take any medication, any prescribed pills.
No.
So what are coping methods for you individually?
I work with my hands a lot. I find myself doing things that are mainly artistic. I read quite a bit. I cut stencils and spray paint. My job, I work at a woodworking mill, and so we mill architectural molding and stuff like that for frameworks and homes, and it's working with my hands, keeping my mind and my body occupied at once. Oftentimes when I'm at work, and I'll be listening to my headphones, and I'll listen to The Fan, or I'll listen to NPR. public radio is awesome.
Yes.
But
I listen to a lot of talk radio.
Yeah, I love talk radio.
Me
I prefer it.
too, yeah.
I prefer it over the music.
Yeah, all right.
But no, I mean, really, it's not something that's easy for everyone. So you could have someone that just barely goes up and down above the high and the low,
Okay.
above the normal. Okay, and then you have people that swing,
Yeah.
and then you have people that bounce.
Up, down,
And so-
up and down.
That's the thing. I would guess that I'm not at the lowest
Mm-hmm.
as far as like I'm probably somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor. And
Yeah.
I haven't been to a doctor in a long time. I've found that I've been able to maintain it, but I do recognize it when it happens.
Okay.
And so that's kind of what helps me to regulate.
Okay. So, in your opinion, for you personally, medication has not been effective. The pills
No.
that psychologists or therapists may prescribe, they've never been effective for you.
No, they've never been effective. The medication that the doctors put out, and this is my personal opinion, and as much, take it with as much value as you give it. But the truth is that I believe that the medications that they put out there are worse than sugar pills because they actually mess with you.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know what they're doing, and that's why they are constantly changing medicines. It's a guessing game.
Yeah.
They're pulling straws every time they reach on the shelf and they find one that, oh, here's a new one, maybe it'll work.
Exactly,
You know what I mean?
which is what most doctors are doing anyway. Every doctor, no matter what field, they're making educated guesses based on the education that they've received. So when you're talking about a chemical imbalance, especially in someone's mind, and you're guessing all these different type of medications with all these different type of effects, it becomes harmful, more harm than good in the end to these people.
Knowing the chemistry of the brain does not make it okay to toy with the enzymes that the brain creates.
Exactly.
by trying to regulate them yourself. Now there are some successful medications. I will say that for depression, which is not bipolar disorder, Zoloft is effective. Okay, and for ADHD, Adderall is effective. But if you don't have ADHD and it's misdiagnosed all the time, and if you don't have depression and that's misdiagnosed all the time,
Yep.
Zoloft and Adderall are not going to work for those people.
So what do? You don't take medication, which is amazing to me, and you're able to maintain a pretty much normal
It's
lifestyle.
amazing to me too.
Yeah, so
I mean, there are moments, I do get mad, I do get frustrated. I got 5 kids total.
yeah.
and I've got 3 that are living at home with me.
Yeah.
And one that I see all the time, and one that I see very, very seldom. But I mean, I've got the 3, the youngest, living with me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a dad just like any other dad. I get frustrated. We all get upset, and things do happen that will either make us feel sad or happy. I mean, the thing that we have to recognize is willpower. Okay? We have will. We have a free will of our own to control our actions and our thoughts and our emotions. We can recognize things. I mean, we can recognize what's wrong and what's right. That's also something that is hard for some people, but
Yeah.
it's not. I don't think that bipolar disorder makes it difficult to understand wrong from right.
Yeah.
That's why you have the severe depression after you do something that's particularly violent that you feel bad about. That's why you
Because
have,
you know it's wrong. You know it's not
wrong.
right. Exactly.
Right, and that's also what gives the thrill of the manic part, when you know you're not doing something right that you're not supposed to do,
Yeah.
and you feel the thrill from it. I'm an advocate for the legalization of marijuana, but until then, we'll see what happens. I'm just concerned about everyone else, really.
Exactly. Because everyone else isn't per se as zen as you are, and you seem to have a good understanding and acknowledgement of the disorder that you suffer from and what it takes to kind of keep it all balanced. So have you ever considered, say, any other type of medicines, like a natural medicine? Have you ever considered anything like that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
So what's an example of something that you would do that you don't like, that isn't a pill, that helps you cope with it, whether it's exercise or whatever the case may be?
If marijuana was legalized, I would smoke marijuana. I definitely would. It has definite medical benefits that are proven.
Exactly.
It has, you know,
which we just did a show on America. Check it out. Sorry.
it doesn't have any side effects. I mean, it's something that, I mean, it helps nausea and headaches and anxiety.
Yep.
It prevents seizures for people with epilepsy. It
listen to this man.
I mean, I definitely believe in the power that it has over chemical imbalances like bipolar disorder and depression. And I mean, not so much for someone who has ADHD, I think, because it would have the opposite effect, I believe. But I feel strongly about that.
Okay. So last question, and elaborate as much as you want on this one. What would you tell the audience, whether it's a kid out there or an adult, whether it's middle-aged, early 20s, whatever the case may be? What do you have to say to the people that are struggling with disorder and feel hopeless or feel like there's no answers, there's no hope, that may be feeling suicidal, misunderstood? What do you have to say to them that will maybe help them with the struggle?
That the hole doesn't drop lower than the floor. Your feet are always going to be underneath you, and you always can take a step forward. It's not the end of the world, whatever you're going through, if it's causing you that kind of stress and ache. And for those of you that are in your highs and you probably don't even care what I'm saying, for the manic highs, it's going to be, it's hard to reach someone, but I want everybody to know that everyone in this world is equal to the next person. I think that, you know, you all, if everyone understood that they have a chance to be a part of the whole, then I think that things would be a lot better.
That is well said. I love it. I love everything we talked about. I want to shake you up. Thank you one more time for coming on the show. Now, Tommy also writes. He writes songs. He writes poems. All stuck right inside his mental brain. He doesn't even write it down. That's how amazing he is. So he's going to share a poem with us. You guys enjoy it. Listen, check it out. Here we go.
In 1999, I was the victim of a hate crime. Kind of like the types of things you've likely seen on Dateline. Underwhelming in comparison to and overshadowed by Columbine. 9th grade. Whiteout on my black backpack. It had the Grinch. They called me Gimp because that whole year I walked with the limp. He wrote anti-Semitic messages and terroristic death threats, and when they found a weapon in his locker, I expected nothing less. These days I pray for Josh Harville, because now, when life sends me reeling, the only thing to me that seems appealing is when I'm at the altar kneeling, because that's how we experience the feeling of healing. You fit in. Thick, thin, black, white, freckled skin, you're special. Show your mettle, spread it fresh and let it settle. Self-expression is detrimental. It helps to propel and protect your potential and projects it to better levels. My perspective on the subject is sentimental, because I treasure the precious effects evident from his presence, his tri-segmented essence, his blessed benevolence and the scent of his excellence. Pray for haters, pray for gangsters, pray for laborers, pray for entertainers, pray for praises, pray for patriots, pray potatoes. You don't have to be afraid to pray for patience. God makes us braver. He takes away our pain and he keeps us safe from danger. You should always find yourself just loving thy neighbor and revealing his endless case of grace to strangers, because our Lord and Savior savors a taste of our favor. It's like his favorite flavor. The stories are told of his boldness, of how he holds us, of how he wants us to ask him to fold, shape, and mold us. We reap what we don't sow, and we're supposed to reap for souls. So when you get set to head for heaven and you hit that roadblock, don't stop and give it the cold shoulder. Throw your shoulder into that cold boulder like a soldier, because with God, we can move mountains. The shield that he provides for us has no boundaries. So in the face of evil, don't cower. Stand tall. Tower. He created everything, from lightning to flowers. Thunder claps are loud because that's the sound of his power. We rise from the valleys and we fall from the heights and end up fighting with the devil on a seismic level. Life is incredible, and you can't deny the inevitable. But Adonai gets the credit, so shine your light every day, more than just once or twice. Bright enough to reach into someone else and ignite. And lo and behold, you will delight your eyes in his might. And you can touch, smell, and taste, sound, and sight.